Hey guys, so I just got done watching Free From Hell literally like seconds ago. And by the time I'm posting this, it'll be Halloween. So happy Halloween, everybody. And happy sixth birthday to my baby niece, Chloe, who was born on Halloween 6 years ago. Yeah, you guys are lucky because I'm posting two horror related reviews for Halloween. Mainly, I'm doing that because I procrastinated long enough, and had to wait until now to post all these, do these reviews. So I still got to watch the Creep Show, the last episode of Creep Show, season one, and I'll be posting a review for that later too. So be on the lookout for that too. But Free From Hell, I always when as far as like every time I do these horror movie reviews for the month of October, I try to save the biggest one for last. And I couldn't think of any movie that was bigger than Free From Hell. It's the new sequel to the Rob Zombie House of a Thousand Corpses Devil Rejects trilogy. It's I If you want to know, I never had a chance to review the other two movies because mainly one, I was not doing reviews at that time. When Devil's Rejects came out when I was a junior in high school. Yeah, I was 17 when that movie came out, and I'm 31 now. So yeah, I didn't even have a fucking camera to be doing reviews. I was not even thinking about that. There was not even a fucking YouTube. In 2005, it was getting around there. But as far as my thoughts on the first two movies, the first one, House of a Thousand Corpses, I liked when I first saw it, but I have grown to not like it as much as I used to. But on the other hand, The Devil's Rejects, I fucking love that movie. It's a underrated classic, horror classic, in my opinion. It's Rob Zombie's masterpiece. It's his best film to date, and nothing even really comes close to it. It showed off his fucking directing chops. How good it's a damn good movie. Almost everything about that movie is great and way better than House of a Thousand Corpses. I get it's different from House of a Thousand Corpses. It's not just the exact same movie over again. It was a completely different animal from House of a Thousand Corpses, but it still felt like it was taking place in the same universe, even if it was a completely different style of film. Everything about that movie was just fucking great, and I, like a lot of people, I know I'm not the only one, thought that was a perfect ending to that series of movies. And to everybody's surprise, including mine, Rob Zombie out of the blue announced like a few years ago, "Oh, I'm going to make another one called Free From Hell." And I'm like, what? I was like, why? I'm pretty certain they died at the end of Devil's Rejects. There's no if and buts about it. I'm pretty goddamn certain they did, but okay, why the fuck not? I was like, whatever. And they're like, "Oh, you're getting all the original cast back." I'm like, alright, fine. Like, whatever. Rob Zombie since then has... it's been a while. I can't... Rob Zombie's a filmmaker I've wanted to like. He has his heart in the right place with a lot of his movies. Man, he's made a lot of shit. I was not a fan of the Halloween remakes. I literally was pissed when the first one came out. So, first Halloween came out, the remake came out. But anyways, I was like, alright, maybe this will be a return to form for Rob Zombie. Maybe there's a reason for this movie to exist. I don't know. It's been getting about as good reviews as Devil's Rejects did. Devil's Rejects actually got surprisingly good reviews from some surprising critics, including Roger Ebert gave it a fucking thumbs up, which is even crazy just to think about. But anyways, I'm gonna just flat out say first, with Free From Hell, I liked it. It's fine. It's not a bad movie. It's not one of the worst movies I've seen all year. It's not one of the best horror movies I've seen all year. It's somewhere in the middle. This is a movie that I kept asking myself throughout it. My main problem with this movie is that, again, I pretty much went in thinking, is there a reason for this to exist? And when the movie was over, I pretty much could not find a reason why this movie exists other than just to make some fucking money. That's pretty much fucking it. This movie is one of the most pointless sequels I've seen in a long goddamn time. And even though it's pointless, I still like it. I want to reiterate, I still liked it. It was not that bad. It was like, there's a lot of pointless sequels out there that are not that bad. And this is one of them. This movie has no reason to fucking exist at all. Like I said, I might as well just get the negative right out of the way. There's no reason why this movie exists. It's not even, it's pretty much an inferior, it's not even close to being as good as The Devil's Rejects at all. It's not a bad sequel to it, but after you make such a really good movie like Devil's Rejects, you gotta have some expectations that maybe he'll try to make something just as good or even better. And yeah, this isn't. There's positives I could say about this movie. The acting is fun. Like, it's fun seeing these characters again. Bill Moseley, Sherry Moon Zombie, are back in these characters. Bill Moseley's like channeling his inner fucking Charles Manson even more than he was in the fucking original films. This movie opens up with some really interesting ideas. Like, it shows like news footage of what's happened since the prior movie, where they survive that shooting, that shootout with the police at the end of the movie, at the end of Devil's Rejects. Even though they got shot 20 times, and they said they had like 1,000,000 to 1 chance of surviving, they survive. So that's their explanation is why they're still alive. So there you go. And they kind of got like this cult-like following going, and where people want them to be free, and that they believe that there is a conspiracy by the man trying to keep them in jail. And I'm like, so they're basically this movie's version of the Manson family. Got it. Okay. And I'm like, okay, you're bringing up some interesting ideas, like where you can maybe go with this movie. Like, maybe like, people are helping them escape prison or something like that, or they gain a cult-like following, and since they got cult-like following, but no, it's just, it's kind of basically just from that point forward, after it shows the pretty cool opening of like, it brings up all these cool ideas of what this movie could be, it just becomes The Devil's Rejects 2.0. Basically, it is like this movie's pretty much beat for beat does a lot of the same things that fucking Devil's Rejects did better in the first one, and it's so goddamn noticeable. Like I said, yeah, it is good to see these characters back. Like I said, Sherry Moon Zombie is kind of, I think, amping up her craziness to 11, which is kind of annoying. Oh, it could be annoying somewhat, but it wasn't too bad. She's not bad in this movie at all. Like I said, Bill Moseley, him and Sid Haig, which I'll talk about him in a second. They were the two things that carried those. Even The House of a Thousand Corpses were the two actors that carried those movies for me. And they were two powerhouse actors that just fucking you couldn't take your eyes off of. And like, at least Bill Moseley's still in this. Like, and he's awesome. He's still fucking awesome in this. And then they got who's that actor that joins them, who's the half brother that we never heard of until now. It's one of those like fucking cliches that you see in a lot of movies. I understand why they had to do it, because they're kind of written themselves they have themselves a problem where one of the main actors from the original two films is really badly sick and can't do this movie anymore. So they have to replace him. Although at the same time, you're like, maybe that should be a sign that maybe you shouldn't do this movie. Maybe you should just ended it at Devil's Rejects and, left it there, but whatever. But he does okay. Like, he has a tough job. What's his name? I know he was in Rob Zombie's previous movie, what was it? 31, which I never got to see, but I've seen clips of him in that movie, and he looked fucking great. And from what I saw, he looked like he was awesome in that movie. Richard Drake, that's who he was. Yeah, Richard Drake. And I know I've seen him in stuff before. He's like an actor who's like been a minor character. But he was in Mandy? What was he in Mandy? Well, let me see. I gotta look this up. But yeah, he's like a minor actor who's always been in a lot of shit. And like, he's a face I recognize, but he's not bad. But he has to replace Sid Haig, such a powerhouse actor like Sid Haig, in this film. But he does do an okay job. Like I said, he can be intimidating. I give him credit on that. But like I said, you do kind of miss Sid Haig a little bit in this fucking movie while watching it. Like, I'd rather watch him, Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, and Cherry Moon Zombie than these three. I think they had a better chemistry than these three do in this movie. But that's just me. Like I said, as far as Sid Haig, let's talk about him for a second. Man, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to review this movie was because, unfortunately his passing it's awful to hear. And he, as a lot of people might know, like, he is in the advertisements for this movie, but he's in like only one scene of this movie. And it's at the very beginning where he's doing an interview with a journalist who's interviewing these all three of them while they're in jail, and you can tell from watching it, Sid Haig's not in good health. And like Rob Zombie has said in an interview, he had planned originally him to have a bigger role in the movie, and probably he was going to be the third person, but he was not in good health, and you can fucking tell watching this scene he's not in good health. He doesn't sound good, he doesn't look good, but he's still fucking Sid Haig, and he's awesome. He's still awesome in this one scene he's in. And the way they write him off is he's given lethal injection. And they do that off camera, and he's given a lethal injection, and there's a news report about him getting lethal injection, which I only have to ask this one question about that. Why is he the only one who got lethal injection? Like, he wasn't... I think Cherry Moon Zombie Baby and Otis did a lot more murders than he did. I'm pretty certain. I mean, I know he was the mastermind, probably more the mastermind, but he did a lot more fucking murders. They did a lot more murders than he did. They got life in prison. He gets lethal injection. I'm like, I mean, I know our fucking judicial system's all messed up, but that just doesn't seem right. But anyways, and fucking Cherry Moon or Baby's got a chance for parole, as you find out like throughout the movie. I'm like, okay, so like that goes about as well as it sounds. So, yeah, like, and there's even some monologues in this movie where they're reminiscing. Cherry Moon Zombie and Bill Moseley are reminiscing about Captain Spaulding or Cutter or whatever his name was, and it was really nice. Like, there was this really nice set of dialogue where they're talking about him, and I said, you can tell maybe that wasn't even really acting. That was just kind of like a nice way of them just talking about their friend. And he was not dead until after this movie came out, but like I'm pretty certain they pretty much knew he was not going to be around much longer. So they were trying to pay tribute in their own way to him, and they even paid tribute to the guy who played Tiny, which was nice. They have like this little bit of dialogue with Tiny where baby's talking to a midget. That is not. I'm not making that fucking sentence up. I promise. So, she's reminiscing and saying, "You remind me of my brother." I'm like, "That's a weird fucking line. That was a funny line." She said his name was. She said his name was Tiny. I was like, that was funny. But yeah, he died like right after Devil's Rejects came out. The guy who played him. So yeah, there's some that this movie's like not well. It's well made. I like that Rob Zombie tries to make the movie feel like an old school horror film. Still, like, he tries to make it look grainy and like dirty and like all stuff like that. Like, it does. Like, his movies do feel like he has the right mindset when it comes to making horror movies. You can tell that he has a big love for horror movies, old school horror movies from the 70s to the 80s. Like, you can tell from everything on screen how much he loves these kinds of movies that inspired stuff like this. Damn, I got a cough. And like I said, I want to like Rob Zombie's filmmaker more than I do, but he's, like I said, this is one of his better movies. I'll give him that. Like, I'll give him that. This is one of his better movies. It helps that, like, you have these established characters, though, too. When I talk about this movie being pointless, and I said, like I said, I want to reiterate, this movie feels like The Devil's Rejects 2.0 because a lot of this movie is beat for beat just The Devil's Rejects, because there's a whole 20-minute part of them kidnapping a group of people and holding them hostage, and then it not ending well for this group of people, like in The Devil's Rejects. And then they're on the road like they are in The Devil's Rejects, and then they stop somewhere, and they get betrayed by somebody, like in The Devil's Rejects, and there's a guy who's after them trying to revenge a death that they of somebody that they knew or were related to, just like The Devil's Rejects. I'm like, yeah, this is a little too similar. Like, way too similar. I mean, they do make changes a lot throughout the movie, but it's way too similar. And, like, The Devil's Rejects did that way better because you had stuff like William Forsythe, who was the sadistic son of a bitch of a bastard who was hunting these guys down. He almost felt sorry for these serial killers, which is amazing that they even accomplished that. But William Forsythe is so awesome in that movie. He helped carry that movie. And, like, the whole revenge plot in this movie, like, doesn't happen until, like, 40 minutes left of the movie. Like, it's just not even brought up until, like, there's, like, 40 minutes left of the movie. And it's like, that was the main plot of The Devil's Rejects. And this movie felt like it was very thin on plot. It didn't really know what the fuck its plot was. Because, like I said, 20 minutes, it's them in prison, and then them getting out of prison, and them holding this family hostage, and then them being on the road, and then them going to Mexico, and then, like, it just didn't feel like there was much of a plot, and they just were stretching it thin into 2 hours somehow, and just throwing a bunch of shit out there, and, like, oh, they're like, this worked in fucking Devil's Rejects, and why don't we do this again? Yeah. Like I said, except this time it's in Mexico, and there's, like, the guy who's seeking revenge is, like, a part of this gang leader of, like a bunch of guys who like to wear luchador masks, which is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty cool. And, like, the last 20 minutes of this movie are pretty awesome and pretty well done, really action packed. I did like it. I'm gonna say they're but I really couldn't give a shit about this guy's revenge plot against him because we barely spent any time with this guy. Like, at least with William Forsythe, he was in the whole fucking thing. Like, he was not an afterthought. He shared as much time as they did in that movie, and he was awesome. God damn it, I love it. He was like, his performance was just as chilling as they were. The hell, my phone's going off. Yeah, I mean, damn it. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what else to say about. Oh, there's some weird parts of this movie though. Like this movie is like, it has Rob Zombie written out. It has like all the kinds of dialogue you see in a lot of this fucking movies. It's Rob Zombie-esque all over the place. There's some dumbass dialogue that I come to expect from his movie, so I'm not shocked. He wrote and directed it like he does with every one of his movies, but there's some weird scenes in this movie that was just like made me go, why? Like, I mean, that happens a lot in Rob Zombie movies. Like, the part where they're holding this family hostage, and they're holding them hostage, and the doorbell rings at this house. You open it, and there's a clown there. Why is there a clown? I don't know. He was there for, I don't know if there was a birthday party, but this is all a bunch of grown adults, and if they were having a birthday party, why the fuck do they have clowns? And it's only there for them to torment this clown, and also for Bill Moseley to say the line, "I hate fucking clowns," which makes no sense since Captain Spaulding was a fucking clown. Whatever. Their dad was a fucking fucking clown. I don't know. Whatever. I was like, that was a weird fucking scene. Like, that was like, it felt like it brought the movie to a halt for a while there, like a few minutes. Like, did I really need that? No. Like, what was the point of that? I don't know. Rob Zombie has a weird obsession with clowns, I've noticed lately. So, and then, there's that. Is the next scene that follows it is a scene of like fucking Baby and fucking Solitary, where she's looking in a grate where she sees a ballerina in a kitten's head. What? And she's dancing and meowing at the same fucking time, and I'm like. And then it ends and she starts crying and I'm like, what the fuck was that all about? Like, there's no explanation, no setup. Like, I know she talked about something about a kitten in a drain story bullshit, but what the fuck did that have anything to do with that? And it never gets brought up again. Like, what was the point of that? There's a lot of times where like, Rob Zombie feels like he's just making like weird. You can tell he's a musician because he makes some fucking... Like, that scene with the cat head, the ballerina and the cat head seems like something would come out of a music video. And I'm like, well, that makes sense since it's Rob Zombie, but I like Rob Zombie as a musician a lot more than I like him as a filmmaker. And that's a shame because I want to like him more as a filmmaker, but he's too hit and miss for me. I don't hate, like, it sounds like I'm bashing this movie a lot. I don't hate it. It's not bad. It's just unnecessary. It's really fucking unnecessary. That's my main problem with the movie. I didn't hate it. Like, I've watched it on Redbox. You can rent it now for a few bucks or whatever. It's not a bad sit. You like The Devil's Rejects? I'm sure you'll probably like this. I like this fine, but it just felt like it was trying to do, and like it didn't. Like that ending in Devil's Rejects was so fucking perfect. Like it had the best use of the song "Freebird" I've ever seen in a fucking film, and like made that fucking pointless because it's just. And to make a sequel, like, for no goddamn reason. Like, I still don't know why they made that, other than make money, I know. Probably that's only the main reason, but... Yeah, I don't know. I liked it, just don't expect that whole much out of it, I guess is my review of it, final thoughts on the movie. It sounds like I'm being a little more negative than I am. Like, I wasn't mad or anything, it's just like, I'm not. I was kind of disappointed, but not too much. I don't know. It sounds like at least I got Creepshow to talk about next. So this is not at least my. I usually try to end my reviews on a positive. October reviews on a positive note. This doesn't sound like much of a positive note. So at least I'll be talking about Creepshow next, which I have more positive than negative things to say about that. So yeah, until then, I'll be talking to you guys later.